Quindi c'era una linea di talonage, quindi si fanno tutti lo Dicevano, lo sanno che la mamma non mi viene non ci sono problemi, c'è una cosa per qua, ci si dirà, non è che ci sia sono in prima.
Namkyi was sentenced to 3 years in prison on fabricated charges of conducting separatist act against the nation.
딱 갈질라라 조언이 오는 뭐 보여지는 거 그렇게 거 아주 어떤 거 니스톤 자정도 아주 말씀은 정말 진실이 니스톤 좋아하고 다지 그렇게 많이 쓰고야지 그냥 두두냐로 좋아해요 그리고 붙이고 똑바로 좀 정도 좀 내가 한번 좀 지켜보고 있죠 자원 당선 조대 해가지고 그때 정부를 고치고대 해가지고 보다라고 고치게 보자는데 결말 제도만 그래서 자원 좀 있고 딱 넣어주시다.
그저 세상이었어. 깨끗이도 무슨 위계는 교내였어요. 인지나 교내였어요. 아니 위계 나 교실 건다한다. 계신도 안에 딕스티도 벽에 이거 딕스 오면도 이제 게 교내하고 무시해서도 이 단다 대야 패션교 마무리 변화는 변교 이게 됐어. 변화가 내가 가리면 남부스 캔서에 예동 중으로게 도와주어서 미스터진들이야. 모란다 아자 된지 좀라게 배제장이 최근에 여러 주부가 변한 차체에 여러 주부 수준을 내주셔 영문을 주셔야 될 제시고 기대를 주셔야 될 제시고를 제 gembigevis gembigevis 감시 뭐가 산에 년도 변화가 있는 소스
아니 당저 단tin 선tin데 그러면 승주도 뭔데 거기도 나야 되는데 라 니 나하니말로 있는 제트라 샤다에서 부분들이
아니 년도 대신 감 순주스야 파수는 순주체 년도야 주의 그바기 수강이야 주가 계시다는 우자부자들이 이 유관 중앙 주의에 대해서 한다당 순주스 강야 이동등이야 강야 하나 지도소스
아니 그 시가 또 착지고래 하고요 제가 이제 실로가 들어가면서 이제 제가 좀 속아요 이쯤은 속아요 정상적으로 cap으로 한번 해주셨어요
아니 기란이 나중에 사실 나중에 친구들 섭친구들 기란이 된된 다른 누가야 좋아요 이제 기란이 속고수들 좋아요 가방으로 좋아 수수 되게 상으로 간단한 지적 주제에서 인지주 알레 인지주로 나는 그 배경은 좀 딱딱되는 뉴스 in 2015 October 21st, me and my sister Lindsay Roma raised his son's portrait and raised the slogan of free, long live His Holiness and let His Holiness return to Tibet and allow Kipling to return to Tibet. Within 10 minutes, the local police department sent out police personnel to arrest us. In 30 minutes, they started beating us with that stick, and we were taken to detention center.
아니 나 너무 또 제가 좋아해서 마크도 난 berkim서 그 대전에다 난 강아 총총도 나왔는데 니적 쪽에서 아메리카는 그자도 있는 살게 하는데 어떠디 고수제다 영카난데 제가 맞지지 하는데요 리홍은 멋지나 체중을 지킬 거 다니 한나서 인정적게
On the same day at 10 p.m. we were taken to Barkang in Chinese it's called Markham County. We were taken to that detention center and kept for 6 days and night. They were beating us all the time and treating us really badly, especially we were put into a detention room where temperature was raised to 150 and they will raise the temperature when we are asking them to counter below the temperature, but then they keep raising the temperature and that temperature is making our body too unbearable to the condition. It comes to a point that our body is sweating too much that the whole sweat will go into your socks and in your shoes, make it really stuck in your shoe that make you feel really uncomfortable.
아니 할리가 사와지고 아주 춘차가 적지는 첫 사원 와인 그 넘지 않는 통산을 지금이라고
So when the temperature is too high, we'll ask the detention centers, police personnel that give us some water. What they do is they give us hot water with the tea leaves that make unable to drink.
Они цалого давались, поняли же, они лигу шамда, они мутали.
And they will ask us to sleep over the heater, and it will burn our body and make us not able to sleep.
네, 주 하고 요요. 나 근데 정확한 주고 주 하고 요요. 나 정확한 주고 하고 요요. 나 주야는 뭐 지오다 했게 주고 그들은 뭐 지오다 했게 주고 나 주다 하고.
And the interrogator keep asking, do you know what crime you have committed? It is urgent, and you will have to deal with the imprisonment. And she said, I know what I did. I know that we want His Holiness to come back to Tibet, and we want Kabir Rishi to return to Tibet.
Tani nishton jaklo is gonna ta norim kansin is which is chakra from that. Mo chankana di sa jupse nishton gonna power get power control the rani meron natsu da jama me jar mucho da hikko no natsu yara ikere natsu jama mo jar mucho da hikko.
And I said, in 2008, you have been killing a lot of Tibetans, starting from Tabe and other monks who self-emulated for Tibet and use voices for free Tibet and returning of His Holiness. That's why we are peacefully protesting.
Tani gikonze chonchon dinoni ko jana badarchen ni jinda natsu utar shakkan jije margu chida jarum chi hikam jibo jana ka jakar saka te chana jo shibi saka jakar te so gausin ne te natsu chigam natsu jarum chi jarum.
So in the detention room, there's a window that through the window I was able to see a Chinese flag. And I asked the interrogator why we are not allowed to have His Holiness portrayed in the flag of Tibet, though Chinese leaders like Xi Jinping are able to go around the world with the Chinese flag. And the interrogator asked me, how did you know about Tibetan flag? You are such a young soul, and how would you know about Tibetan flag? And I started describing the Tibetan flag, the colors, and the true songlines, and the interrogator telling me that such a monster, you even know about the flag. And they keep not letting us to sleep, and keep interrogating us, asking questions, and keep asking us to provide the names who are connected to the Dalai clique. And they ask us whether our parents or family members know about this situation. How did you get the portrait of His Holiness who have sinned and who are connected to God? And started smacking us and kicking us. After that, we were taken to Lishan in Tibetan, that is called Jashizong, and then also took us to Chochuzong. In Chinese, it is called Heizhishan. So we were put into that detention center for a year and a month, sorry. At the detention center, the interrogators kept coming back monthly or sometimes weekly to keep asking questions about our status. They kept telling us that although you have sacrificed yourself to the cause, but then it's all, the Dalai Lama is not able to help you. The Dalai Lama is not even able to give you a cloak or a dime. So the interrogator keeps saying they are not even able to, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is not even able to give you a cloak or a money like a dime. And monthly, the interrogators keep coming back and asking questions and trying to change your mind and keep trying to let us say that we regret about what we did. And food qualities are not good, and we are always hungry. Sometimes the kanji that we used to get is really water with few rice in it. And the quality of clothing is really bad qualities. When it's winter time, we usually have our toes froze that we are not able to feel our toes. And the food qualities are really bad. You will see bugs in it. Sometimes the meats that we usually weekly get are with the pork skin with the first, and sometimes it's leftovers of the guards. So in the solitary confinement, there is a really small window, and through the window we can see the sunrise and sunset. And that way you know when the dinner or your food is served. Other than that, you won't know anything else. So there's nothing to do and nobody to talk, so what I did was prostration and praying. The interrogators will come and ask, what are you doing? So in 2016, October 22nd, they assigned two pro bono lawyers to come to the detention center and ask us whether we want to change our crime to a murder case, burglary case, or selling narcotics. In that way, we can get less sentence or could be released from the detention center. And you say you are regret and change the crime status that we can't even release you from the detention center. And I say no, we don't need to change that, and we are not regret. The next day, on 23rd, I was praying to His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the deities that I believe in, and after that, the military personals or police personals came in and took us to the trial. And then they took us to the court, and they were interrogating us again at the court and kept asking us, did you raise portrait of His Holiness and ask for return of His Holiness to Tibet, and ask for return of His Eminence Kibden Rinpoche, And did you call for freedom for Tibet?
아니 저가 마스터 되는데 다음에 연구를 로 선생 부탁드립니다.
And when I say I'm not worried about what I did, me and my sister were sentenced for 3 years. For action, the expression of the judge and all the personnel in the courtroom, their facial expression was changed.
아니 정과 때문에 여기 그러면 야라 여기 알려나요. 아니 진짜 녹성도만 리포트라이.
When we are entering the courtroom and leaving from the courtroom, we were thinking, and one of the interrogators or the personnel in the courtroom said, "This 3 years is not enough for you," and I answered that is fine. My sister could be put together in the same jail, but they rejected and say that that's because you are Tibetan and connected to dialectic. And they asked if we want to ask, if we want to, So I was taken to the biggest female prison in Sichuan province, and I was put into facility number 9. So we were actually taken to one of the prisons in Chengdu, which is supposed to be a prison for the minorities in that region. But within 30 minutes, they took us to that bigger female prison.
And the
quality and condition of that prison for the minority prison is really good. Somehow the environment smells good also. They say that we are not supposed to be there, and they took us to the bigger female prison, which is supposed to be one of the biggest in Sichuan province. And there we were put into that facility number 9 and kept us getting military training. So within the prison there are 11 facilities. The facility number 9 is supposed to be the facility that all newcomers are supposed to get in, and the usual Chinese prisoners who are coming into that facility are given 2 months of military training, but Tibetans are specifically discriminated and given 3 to 4 months of military training. So in the prison, we were asked to memorize the constitution, the regulations in the prison. For instance, article number 48, 38, 20, like these, they require us to memorize these regulations like the Chinese does. And we were watched 24/7 by the prison guards, and they kept saying that because of you are connected to the Dalai Lama, and that kind of surveillance is always there. And we were kept asking to memorize the constitutions and all those regulations, and when we are not able to memorize it, kept asking us to do it, make us not to sleep till 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. We discriminated. They usually assign 2 Chinese prisoners within the prison to watch them 24/7.
Tani tani makjon na gostak tupa mana kis achine na gostak niya mana chala tani liskali ko.
So after facility number 9, we were I was put into facility number 6, and my sister was put into facility number 2, which is supposed to be a huge labor camp, and they made us keep working.
Tago zobda halga chimbo na to church no jin liskali har sara kana ma jo skop to so zagdo ta marje ke benjai liskali ko.
So the facility is so big. It seems like it's a big factory, and they kept asking us to work on the projects. We need to make 500 to 600 projects that we are making, and it comes to a point that our body is not able to bear with it, and sometimes your heads, your butt will get bruised.
Tani machado de zanskap ke meli tago ma so ni ko chol ha ni ni so chol ha
We were working on the copper wire, and we need to make that around 500 to 600 of that product. And while we are making it, they put 2 lights right in front of us and not giving any protective glasses or goggles, make our eyes not able to bear with it, and so your eyes will be neutralized.
Tani da tunda so so ko na ko antan yore na tsona o pasona ta o mi je yore tambo ram to man chala ni na yoni ni wa tani sanda je na wa ko mu na je je se je na je ko na to ko mu je cha ko na ko mu ja ta da na ka.
So the prisoners are given a different status in degrees. And there are 8 Tibetan political prisoners in the prison, and all of them were given first-degree status, and the others, Chinese prisoners, are given second, third-degree status. But for those Tibetans who were given first-degree status, a lot of privileges was taken away. For instance, the money that we were supposed to get, they will taking away 20%, and we can get only 80% of the money.
Tani jode ko so tin da ko so ko ni je sen je tong ko ni na ni ta ni ba ri na so tong ri chi se ge ni da jo so ko ta ri ja ro ji so ba ri ti ku ni ja no so ge ko chu.
And I asked God why the others were able to receive 200, 300 yuan, and then we are put into first-degree status and not allowed to have the same amount. And they say that you are related to or connected to Dalai Clique and the organization, so you are treated differently. So the money or the point system that I mentioned, the Chinese prisoners in the prison are able to buy fruits, apples, and oranges, but the Tibetans are not even able to get it until they get out from the prison. After 1 year and 3 months, my dad came to visit me for the first time, and because of our family background, we are a nomadic family, and we were speaking in Tibetan. Now within 5 minutes, the guards came and cut us off. They said you are not allowed to speak in Tibetan, and usually in the prison system that other prisoners are allowed to have 30 minutes of extra time, but we were not given that privilege and taking that right away.
Pedro Dash, you was a stagger to them, taking love from the room to them, not to be chapter.
There are prisoners all from all three regions of Tibet. And when their families want to see their family in prison, they will have to kneel down and beg for that opportunity. And that sort of discrimination is creating within the prison system that Tibet is not giving that opportunity or the right. And one day, one of the leaders came to visit the facility, the prison facility, and what they were trying to do was asking prisoners to memorize or reiterate the constitution or the regulations that you're supposed to memorize within the prison. So there's one regulation called Batum, and they specifically choose me to memorize it, but I told them I am not able to memorize it. In cell number, facility number 9, when she heard about it, she asked us that why you are not able to memorize it. We were giving you the opportunity to memorize everything in facility number 9. And she started scolding me, throwing me bad word, and I started giving her a bad expression too. So she kept discriminating me till I get out from the prison. She kept coming back to ask me to memorize the whole constitution and all those regulations, and not allowing me to sleep until 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, giving only 1 minute to take a shower, and it kept discriminating me and giving me really bad treatment within prison. There's another Chinese prisoner, her name is Yami, and she's kind of nice to me. And she told me, if you say sorry to that guard, you don't have to work that extensively anymore, and maybe you can say you are regret what you did. Maybe in that way, that guard can let you leave from what you are facing right now. And I told her I won't do that. And one of the other girls came to me and kept asking me, told me I should say sorry, just say sorry, or just say I am regret. But then I never say such things, and I told them that not even my parents have told me or scolded me like that, so I wouldn't do that. So my body condition was bad, but one day I was passed out, and the guards has taken me to the hospital. When I came into conscious, they said I am fine and giving me some medication, but it seems like the medication doesn't help your body, but instead of that, it feels like it is making my body feel worse.
지금 제가 좀 속바라 주 와그리 점거리 진다 주용으로 주 와그라 저도 건 말아 진다 가지고 되면 나수던
So for the Tibetans who are suffering or who are having some pain or when they have illness, we are just incriminated again, and they will say you have such pride for being Tibetanese or for your faith into Dalai Lama, discriminate us.
아니 다 자트가 하면서 그 카퍼나미 제면 주고 있나요? 나도 또 제면 주고 트레이스 하라는 거는 주고 자나도 특별히 고수 놈이 트레이스는 주고.
So the Chinese prisoners monthly they are allowed to have phone calls to your family members or send letters to their family member, but the Tibetans are never given that opportunity.
더 나도 오빠서 이렇게 하라서라 니때는 나라면 좋고다 고스톱 집수고 직수나 그렇게 보셔도 나도 니때서 취향이 되다는 지금들 디미고 시도 내주는
So the Tibetans are not even given an opportunity to have eye contact. And all the Tibetans who are in the prison are put into different facilities. When we are having eye contact, the guards will keep coming to upon us and ask why you are giving eye contact.
내가 아니더라도 고스톱 접촉구나 해서 정말 장단 연수를 내라기 옛날에 나도 오빠서 리스케알이 서른주 가능이 왜 서른주세 리스케알인데 나가 감수를 내라서 연수를 못하고.
So in the prison, usually the Chinese prisoners are having the luxury to spend their last 2 months in facility number 11, which is supposed to be a more relaxed or more friendly conditioned facility, but then Tibetans are not even get that opportunity or the privilege, and until you get out from the prison, you are put into everything.
Georgic 내가 지금 솔직히 말해서 지금 동컴하는 거
On 2018, October 21st, it was the day that we are able to release from the prison.
자막 정말 그 소수 너무 용데 나 격투는 치수는 좀 있나요? 나도 무섭게 그 소수 연주 그냥 똑같다. 내가 좀 그냥 똑같이 용데 영식 것도 있는데 뒤쪽으로 되는데.
So for the Chinese prisoners, when they get out from the prison, their family and friends will come to receive them. But for us, the county level police department and the village level police department came and received us, and they took us back to the detention center and interrogated us for a week.
아니 막 진짜 그런 제안을 진짜 주다 야나이게 하고 말이지.
So at the detention center, there's one Chinese police. Again, he asked me, "Will you do the same thing? Will you protest again?" And I answered back, "I wouldn't be able to tell you."
아니 그 맞추 하나다 맞추 열주고 공부도 소위 그 완비가 있는데 직기적 사익장들 가시지에는 제작도 하나도 내가 얘기했는데 미 완비게.
So right there, my dad and the village leader was forced to sign a paperwork or a contract with the signature, with the fingerprint, saying that if I do any political things, then the village leader and her parents will be put into prison.
땅이 되는데 아니 맞추는 그다 정권은 뭐 정정당 잡수고 답샤리는 로하로 직장은 피나면 좀 간주도 추가되는 좀.
And I was told that I am not allowed to meet any former political prisoners that I met in prison. And then I am not allowed to form any kind of organizations or get any kind of groups to be created. Not even with the family, family to have a big group of celebrations.
자칫 아니면 좀 스타프 배주수 나는데 나출라요. 통고이 고소형 타발게 주체가 요구하여 있는데 존득하다는 게 잠무하다는 게.
So we are not even allowed to go over the limit of our village, and not allowed to form any groups, not allowed to form any sort of. So not allowed to go over the limit of the boundary of our village, and they keep asking us to come back to the police station and report them, and then they will keep calling us and check where we are, what we are doing, and where we are at. So although I was released from the prison, but mentally I feel like I am still in prison. 3 years ago, I raised the portrait of His Holiness and shouted, and I was sentenced in prison. But after releasing, I still feel that we don't have the freedom, not even the freedom to maintain a portrait of His Holiness within our cell phone. So mentally, I feel like we're still in this prison. So the village authority will keep hosting conferences and insist getting family or parents to guide them that they are not allowed to do any political actions, and that kind of pressure is always there. So my brother, he was 16, and he also raised protests over Tibet. And he was in prison for 4 years, and in that kind of sense, our whole family was put into blacklist. Who we are talking to, where we are going, and everything is surveillance. So financially, we usually don't have that much of an issue, but in terms of faith or following or belief, we don't have the right to follow or believe. In that kind of sense, sometimes we feel like it's better to even that feels like a relief. In 2022, with all these conditions and situations going on, I started uploading a lot of content or pictures of portrait of His Holiness, and also texts and audios of His Holiness, and the local authorities kept asking questions, and they arrested me again. And the social media content on the title I put Dalai Lama in English, and they came up with the whole page printed and asking me, "Is this you? How did you know English, brother or Pope?" And even that, the Chinese authorities knew about it, and they kept asking about, "This is you, right?" And they keep using really bad words and keep saying, "How the hell you got all this content?" And the police department personnel say that Chinese authority were given in the direction and all this information that you are doing all these things and want us to follow next step.
Tani kapare 그 고수 남녀가 로디는데 tani kapare 고수 지역.
And they kept searching my phone and they took away my phone.
tani 건치 그 대랑 정하나 되잖아. 공자 그 톱당 요리. 옛날 대랑 연출 그 제로 그 kapare 대저 직장 있는 쪽 냐는 쪽 가스타 야라에 쪽 정하나 되게 있는데 고수 뒤지.
And they say they have every single right to put you in prison right now because if you are all the content that you have created and maintained on your phone. And they say after today you are not allowed. So all this really concentrated situation inside the bed. I didn't get the chance to go out, but until 2023, May 13th, I was able to escape from Tibet and arrive in Dharamsala, the land of freedom. Freedom. I'm being really honest here. I'm just an example, one of many examples. I personally know a lot of people who were imprisoned and sentences for 13 years, 14 years. So I myself came from Amdungaba, so I know the situation from Amdungaba side. But overall in Tibet, all three regions of Tibet definitely have all similar cases everywhere. We are in a free country enjoying freedom, but in Tibet, in all three regions of Tibet, there are thousands of Tibetans that are suffering for this, for their freedom. So this is something that we really need to think about it and feel about it.
Ничто деколорно на нашем новом консументном чеком кругом. Ты на законном уточнении граничном понимании, что границы, море, лалава, уржанцы, уржанцы, закон особо новый консум союзный.
So since 2008, there are bloodshed everywhere inside Tibet, and within the prison we can see written things like Free Tibet, Independence Tibet, and all those sort of slogans written in the prison. And those kind of things always make us sort of cry and keeping us alive.
Ничто гани цухау тапихау пенсу кварсан демцуинда рани тимин моустан нацу укей новый консумиц как деда тучидан цика рани мертали да сичетали нацу мурда тапа чачу тондери нацу нефть чатамали чемто красавый чатамали.
So since 2009, Monk Japi and all of them self-emulated, and there are all over 3 regions of Tibet. There are 160 Tibetans, over 160 Tibetans self-emulated. Why they self-emulated? They did it for Tibet, not just for a single family or just for a single person. And the self-emulators, when they are about to passing away, they're actually giving the last words that asking us to unite and call for unity.
Lobson Garden Commission and the Gombin of Jawari. Konya is not just two ones, Konya Yamtons, the Ron Middle Pond.
Lobson Kaksonda.
Commission.
Lobson Gelsan and Komshok are two self-eminent from Bedimon Street.
Konya Yamtons, the Ron Middle Pond. Yenna Konya Road, then James, Donkana, dinner directly. Lobson Commission and Shakma Yumari, Shakma to the former, some of the beginning that are Jan that Nasu, Tasha that means the new Kajina that Natu Drigio, or Tan that Natu Nika Ajin that Tachu, Chimkara, Wagara, Chova Dokara, that Natu Shaka and Wundering that Kosu National Member Jimwa.
Lobson Gelsan and Komshok were two Tibetan monks who came from Bedimon Street and self-emulated themselves, and they were imprisoned afterwards in Lord Jeddah. They were sentenced for 7 years and 8 years within prison. In case of Lobson Komchok, his leg is cut 3 times by the Chinese authority, and when his leg was cut, it was almost using fire to burn his wound, and kept torturing that way and kept asking if you have such a pride to maintain your belief for His Holiness and Tibet, that you are able to bear this pain, right? And that sort of torture was given to these self-images.
Tani ngaso timi ma sana ma sa so de mar ko je chobar go kara ji de ra chi di dimi da ai kha dimi no kan zer de tani dimi she ka shin do.
And all those one and skins, they would peel the skins from the bruises that you have from self-immolation, from the burning, and keep saying you have the gut to bear this pain because you have such a pride.
Tani kuso tongkana ni lo dan je tongkana da tani pshawa we yenna ya taron jodi karama me li kumo tsama ya ma ga zamda lore chako kumo checho yenna ya ma so mulk taksam tam nam ti jeko la ja ayaba me ke ya jar ko ta.
After 7 years, 8 years, they were released from the prison, but their mobility around, going around is restricted by the Chinese authority. But even in such cases, their spirit, their faith has never changed, and their faith and belief to His Holiness and Tibet has remained firmly. All 3 regions of Tibet, there are many other examples like the similar cases, and I'm sure they are suffering right now as well. So there's a case, Lobson Gyatso, he was released from the prison, but then he was injected something by the Chinese authority, and his mental status was really, in a way, he became insane. Mentally, he's not stable right there. And when he released from prison, because of that kind of status, he ended up killing his own mother, and these kind of cases also happened. So after he ended up killing his mother, his dad was actually having a conversation with the prison and telling them that you have given something to my son and creating his mental status gone wild, and he's harming other people other people, so is there any way you guys can keep him back to the prison? But then Chinese authorities say there's no way we can do that, but there's situations like we put him into mental institutions, but that didn't work well, but somehow they took him back after we paid him a lump sum money for it. And it seems like one time when the father went to see him, he was fine in prison. When I arrived in India and I heard about that story about my brother, I heard that his dad was just given an ash, so clearly he was killed by the Chinese authority in the prison. So whenever there's a scholar or leaders who are publishing the status of Tibet or the pride of Tibet, they try to put them in prison or try to kill them. So the Chinese authority consider our Tibetan's identity and the belief or the faith that we have, they consider them as poison. So the Chinese authorities always come up with the propaganda saying that we are enjoying freedom, we are enjoying all sort of privileges within Chinese system, but then they taking down the private schools and taking away all the freedom and trying to turn us into Chinese. That's why it's really important us Tibetans who are in the free world need to work more. Especially the Tibetans who are inside Tibet have given such a high hope for the Tibetans who are living outside. Because we are not able to raise the voice, those Tibetans who are within Tibet not able to raise the voice to reach outside, but we believe that we do have a platform outside that they can raise our voice. So the pains and suffering that Tibetans are facing inside Tibet needed you all, the Tibetans who are outside, to raise it to the United Nations, raise it to the human rights organizations, the international human rights organizations out there. As a human, they are treating us less than an animal. Especially the elders who are here, it's really important you to speak Tibetan and teach Tibetan culture and language to your children, especially speak only Tibetan while you are in home with your children. So our blood, born, skin, everything is made Tibetan. We will never become a foreigner.
lokal cinema da şirket geçen kusurunda hiç boy. Şu kızım tutaya. Hadi öyle boy. Nasıl lokal ngaran lazım lokal inci cemaşın kendi lazım kusu jirin doğru. Şu kan sosu simon muyu nitezine geçip şu sanmıyor. Didi şu kızım tutaya da yine nasıl nalatın diye sıkı yetişimini sosu Worketta, wake up, on composure. You want to jump in
So I think it's really hard for you as well, while you are living in a foreign country, that you have to survive in an environment that you have to communicate in English. But when it comes to your home learning or home, it's really important you should speak Tibetan to your children.
Oricum, 제대로 교육을 같이 모두가 되면 우리 자만 반드시 맞춰 오빠서 메커서 주는데 그거 총총 소리고 자도 돕지는 않는데 자기는 스타트하고 유슈 komşide 스타트하는데 맞춰 오세요. 메커서 주고 무게더라. 맞춰 가서 보고 저거요. 너희 감스네.
So the Chinese intention is trying to synthesize Tibetans, all three regions of Tibet. They will, all Tibetan kids or children are taken to boarding schools, and their ultimate goal is trying to turn Tibetans into Chinese. It's really fortunate and privileged that we have a leader like His Holiness the Dalai Lama has already given us a path or a recommendation to follow. So I think this is something that we all should follow and follow the lead. If we don't have His Holiness, then we don't have nothing. We should know that. It is because of His Holiness the Lama's kindness that we have this privilege to live and have the freedom to mobility within other foreign countries. But if we don't have Him, then everything is vanished. His Holiness is like a parent to us. So we should be united and fight for our freedom together until the Tibetan issue is resolved. The question is related to her physical health. It is not the cases for myself, but most of the political prisoners, when they are going into the prison, before going into the prison, they have both physical status or mental status always fine. But once they got out from prison, some of them within 1 or a year will pass away because of their physical condition. Especially and also not only physical status, but their mental status also not that stable. Also, once they got out from prison, especially for the ladies, for the females. The sanitation needed is not provided while they're in prison, and that sort of physical hygiene are not yet regularly, so these kind of problems that exist.
정kon의 외식으로 단지민데 되게 치료로 초기 단지민데 적지민데 근데 심기를 양면은 따뜻한 자는 뒤로 시고 먹어요.
So some of the sickness, even after they get out of the prison or within the prison, there's no way to cure it, no matter how much hospitals or doctors you see. Sometimes it seems like there's a problem with memories also. A lot of the prisoners having sort of bad status with the memory. Yes.
여기 최수교수 남길란제 그다음에 저기 안테 그리 대수시와는데 어디 맡은 교수님 러초주권의 최수교수는 남길 최주권의 나와 방금 서부정원의 조간을 하자고 철피조가 세이조가 예전에 경험된 데 대해서가 시 개인 가면과 생각과 추심슈 근데 얘는 또 지셔야지 아까 아시아에서도 연결하네 연결이 아까 개인들과 수정하네 아니 사람이 오고싶은 지금 스포츠를 그냥 오히려 방금 드시려고 어디 나한테 비해서 지금 속에 소수들이 일어나고 있어요 이 나한테 기술수준에 배우고 변화는 내가 가긴 이 새끼야니 너무 계속 뜻이 애매하지 고대 position 딱 대신 그냥 신고가 되게 있어요. 그래서 딱 가면 돼. 말하시면 리셋 라운드 만나 말하시면 진짜 비슷한 거로. 그들이 배에 먹고 싶으셔. 배에 좀 먹고 싶으셔. 딱 어디가 신고가 배에 그들이 캐는 세우기 인지민이 잡아치. 말하면 변화를 제대로 주어서 내가 주고 말해. 너 주고 보내. 제대로 먹고 싶게 배에 싸서 그래서 안에는 좀 하자. 다 남기다가 실수로 내배에서 말하면 비망오면 더 남체제 인지를 시작하는 것이 시작. 그래서 장에서 보시죠. 장모는 있어서 좋아하다. 아니야 좋아하는데 하나 예를 들어봐 제대로다 제대로 넘겨라. 아니 나도 망고 집도 쉬비야 자다 미망치 부탁해. 그래서 말다 남기라 장에 다시 사실 너무 쉽고 와요. 그래서 변화 대단히 대시해요. 대시해서 봐. 그냥 뭐니까 영어로 이외에 배운 대단히 대시고 받아 생각없이 좋아하시 가르치고. 그냥 배운 대단히 시행고 오네. 얘기 거네. 그냥 시행고 뭐 괜찮아. 그냥 하고 거기 보면 생각 좋아하시 가르치고 있고 어디 그런 쉬워요. 이 되지.
내가 생각해서 그 맞춤 도스타 직전에 시간도 맞춤 맞춰 소를 도스타 직전에 아니 그 맞춤 저는 라마노 바이오는 도스면서 그 워크 때문에 딜한 마스와 그 맞춤에서 그 냠을 잡고 맞춤에서 그땀 드라이빙 토탄토탄 데크가 소에서 맞춤 워크 니스톤의 시간 딥쉐인데 맞춤 원래는 니스톤의 시간 찾아보는 거다. 누가 더 시간 같이 보는. 다른 시간 손만 들고 뛰면 니스톤의 처리요. 지금은 다 소소해서 사진을 찍는 게 그거에서 같이 보고요. 니 하고요. 용 맞춰서 넘어요. 근데 맞추시는 내용도 시고 무슨 시계 보고 시까지 아니 지금 맞춰 오빠가 소리서 나오시는 그냥 그런 말에 버리게 되고 야
are so many Spanish who are outside learning English and adapted to the environment that we are living in. She is calling for Tibetans to raise the Tibetan issue and what Tibetans are suffering instead of that should be, all those cases should be raised with the international community like the United Nations and international human rights organizations. And it seems like the one thing that I recognized by most different Tibetan communities that it seems like because of the environment of Tibetans who are living outside Tibet, somehow a lot of Tibetans are suffering into a different culture, and I think this is something that we have to watch. And preserving Tibetan culture should be carried more by the Tibetans who are outside.
근데 지금 여기 버거도스나 엄마도 그래요도 말인데 이집 분위기 그 소수 못했다 왜 아무것도 안 해줘 뜻이 그 내가 치고요.
So I know it's really hard to do this, but then I hope all Tibetan children in foreign country put Tibetan language first.
남이 와서 생각하지 지금 와서 대장하면서 와서 대장을 뜻이 세미 못지다 와서 소수 다니 그 갈라간다는 물기체 대셔야 될 뜻이 같이.
Something that we always have to remember in our heart is that Tibet is going through a really huge struggle right now. That's why it's really important for us to put Tibetan culture and Buddhist position at first.
미시가 와서 양도 던져줘 시그지가 하는 친구요.
And again, unity, all religions of Tibet should getting together is really important.
만약 맞춤들이 살아서 부모님 집에서 원망도 쏟고 있는 원인고소 실리스 백제들 원인.
All the small, non-needed things that the Tibetans who are inside Tibet care about it, all these something really bad. Thank you.
미리 탑소를 때문에 폐에 비교를 해 토해 와 내리시지 네 집에서 저기 초과 친구들 거래 중세나 니도 게라 카세우 시우지도요 근데 남기라 이게 순수 니네 시시제 왜 남으라 도요 감수네 냐고야 왕제 지 불가지 저도 잡아라 야미 군주서 마쇼 중 고루만 삼제 가자마지 자와 파투 주주 용에다 니게 내가 답도 까 그래서 김전이나 네가 토요지 있으면 도고요 네 집에서 봐라 그 노력하면서 찡찡이 나야 되는 누가 시유가 되는 카스고 싶은 토요 더 가지고 이내 양 남들 되는 찡찡이 나오는 철새기 내 땅이 이게 그냥 찡 나와 돌려야죠 찡 내가 맨 처음에 남들 모티되게 소리해주러 찡에 얘 개차 차사들도 말하니 맞죠 지속에 사사를 소리해주러 니네 실제 나가라 대대 니네 실제 대대에서 산에 막고지는 수준 남기는데 니들 남기라도 시킨 남기다 말라 만주 진주 지소 나만 되게지 켈렌지 지도자 내가 라이지 누기지 슈두고 연나 내나 라지로 다만 변하고 되는 가지고 근데 누좀 나주고 양 비비다 만주 있는데만 내가 교육을 가서 야가지고 왕도고요 이내 되는 만주 지도 땅 보여드리 미기디 도지 만주 제주 베주 내단이 깨내게 해 이내 되다 베주 리타주 차요 다른 다 셔지슈베게 내가 제제요 이내 파치니 약두고요 말 얘도 이게 야쇼 부고 다들 디도란 남기라게지 만주 쇼다지 제주팔 쇼유 조디레레 디디서 말지 망자는 지켜야 남자지 내 두고를 왜 쓰면서 디지 제주 남보다지 별초가 숨세주로 다 맞아 지난 제주 남을 초가 중저 고에게 내다 요만해 별 미래기 탐소를 주요로 와 이내 니바라 창아중에 가시지 요 이게 아까 보였듯이 아니 얘 뒤바 쏘고 니 남기라 되는 지금 예자 변수 주주난 패는데 이 시스템을 대대 야나 마쇼 슝디기와 지금 남기라 여자는 시지 겨울 부지 같이 7월 지구에게 내 박지 열을 했을 때 뒤집어지는 거야. 근데 대대기 자나 마쇼 슝이 내가 되게 원해 열부지 파치로 지기 내 박지 열을 했을 거야. 아니 뒤집어지지. 이와디 아니 지금 만주기 된다지 근데 계시 사장이 남들아 소문을 시제 겨울부터 쇼면 그 계획에 너무 많이 소문해주가 겨울부터 마슈를 값으라 대대처럼 만든다 유쇼대에 내가 되는데 니네시 만두 라마지를 남가지를 근데 교육이 시주지 때문에 지셔 다 겨울부터 마슈에 된다 별 한번 분명히 만두 제주 쇼라를 남두만 되라 이렇게 투비를 왜 만두 나와되지 누구를 왜 시주지 때문에 지에다니 다 지금 너도 나가는 대대 마쇼 중기 시주디 원에 겨울 제가 엔지 슈드에게 내가 요래 요만했어요. 한 지번님마디 근데 계속 겨울 마쇼가 같이나 안도는 내가 시주 담자다에 되게 다와니 그 너무 싫은다게 나도를 이렇게 두게 내 만했어요. 그래서 두신
맞추시고 아주 정말 진짜들이 날따라서 그냥 쇼에서 내미고 당첨을 내미고 그냥 잘하고 소소 끝당도 타야 되고 맞고 상 주대라는 저도 그런 뭐디 년대로 제도들이 지금 까먹었어요. 옛날에 맞추시고 그 독자 직전에 저도 지금 같이 먹었어요. 맞추 독자 직전에는 맞추가 때리시기 친구예요. 니 그래서 그지에는 맞추 누가 친구들만. 네 맞추 독자 직전에 시기 같이 먹었어요.
I think unity, getting together, also getting all together is really important. One person is doing something, I think it's not that powerful, but all of us coming together, doing something together, that will be really powerful.
동물들에 대한 이미 기술이 이 전쟁도 다이어트 중에 먼저 미만 산다 아래를 배우기 이대로 지도서가 가고서 가시가 나기라지 제주도에서 나기라 다니시는 자로나기 아니 지나 아니 다음도 시슈이 니 무서 방송이나 대학기들에 중국에서는 대학에 따라서 미리 따오는 돈 대리 소화도 무슨 거는 소화 나가시는 거 근데 이 처음 가야는 대학이 다음도 시슈이 이제 되게 양을 보통 상승 지도 찾아드리면 전제를 또 제시를 일단 지원해드리다 다 되게 뒤줄이 무슨 대시하고 무슨 게 있어 등산에서 지도 찾아 수치하니 그 사과로 유튜브를 변한 쪽에 때문에 좋은 목표도 와 그래서 봐라 무슨 표현이다 딱 자민이 상황에서 제일 먼저 최고도 와 이 무슨学业上 변화는 요리 별다른 상황이 내도다 아니 유튜브를 가지고 이제 지수가 그들을 되게 실충을 해 나온 제공만 보거든 단미가 다 찬스로나 단단 제주에 나와 찬스 제주가 리센트리 상슈를 찾아버려 딱 뭐랑 이제 딱 소화기 딱 프레시 딱 수박수 대대의 수박아 남기다 아니 무슨 익세 중에서 다들 동생들 이거 없더라. 얘도 인조도 수익도 디 무슨 중에서 빼고라. 별날 때다. 때문에 이들이 시기 맞서라 사람들이. 라고 오늘 라운 티유서 해. 무슨 라운 티유도 해. 주말에 시나 사람들이 좋아서 수익도 디데 토 나들아 수수 라미 지로와 그게 용이야. 나도 어때? 데가 다리지 나오나. 뒤쪽으로 양이 양 쉬고. 또 저기 문에 싹싹하는 거 Today, we know you whole team are all on the shoot. That did not get a late not toy, half so I told his sister. So I know you that makes it YouTuber to do that. And so you will show that what was it? The doctor did not get to lazy now, makes it to get to such a lot of German. That to Jerry was a bit to this role. That's all.
当时我这个家呢，不用这个，就这个这个咱们那这个，可是西南的西头就都是情况了。俺从500岁那个这个看了重重的这个理念的，俺从那个中山那个因为70多的，那西南的地方的可是3个人。
Famous spoken generation is really powerful. For instance, that is to create some sort of house, beautiful house to stay, but they will take every rights is taken away. But physically or viewing from outside, it looks beautiful to your eyes.
근데 공백 부탁하다 있었다. 개체시켜야 뭐마이 한국 고문을 했더니 직거든요. 인지문을 쉐고 매춘 맞추는데 정확하게 직거든요. तीन जैकेट जरूर जैकेट किसी जिल्टे ये को कुर्मो जरूर चिकचिका केंगल में जिंदगी कोसुती में जाना जोड़ी को शेकेंड की मासो सिन ताने सामने शादी में चाहो कोई कोसो हम में को शेकेंड की
In industry, the Chinese authorities are actually forcing some of the management ones who are taking care of the monastery to come out and speak on their behalf. They're forced to speak beautiful things, but in reality, everything is restricted and not a single freedom is given.
他们就好多所有的，那样这个所有的所就是呢，就说城市当中或者这些原来的有的，所有这些有的，家长说给孩子来讲，你那个没有这个，可容易。
For instance, for the nomadic life, if they have like motorbike and cars, sometimes the authorities will say it doesn't look good in your eyes, and they will take away all these vehicles that you have.
남시의 차에 오빠 차에 또 쭉쭉이 그 샤다주의는 샤다주의
On the street, they have only a person is sweeping the road for 6 hours a day. So the streets are the only special person to sweep the road, starting from 6 a.m. in the morning.
شروط كونكوريتا حالي نيون جيمو يحاول صوبي ولا يننا سين نامي ولا وصول زامو 차트에 기차도 광주이고요. 지금 경연미들의 모습 녀지무고 윤나야 너도 참아야겠고 다쳐보면 우르도요.
So outside, like I say, they will clean and make everything look beautiful, but within, everything is rotten and it doesn't look good at all.
현재 조합만이 아주 순두 띠인가 10 last 4
그것으로 우리도 남제다 수준과 소리도 이제 내 상황을 다시 보시니 네 나가 다다 선생님께서 도감 주시고 이렇게 소소 이제 차비에 다지다 남제다 드리게 잘 고지 우리 지도서 고지슈 오늘 전에게 페미스 이상과 가서라 만족 가려는 가려는 소소 남이 남족 지대다 페리오에 네 나군다 다부셔서 말나 페노가 나오네 나중에 명 사족이 감사 페리드 말아야 되는 미세 두주되는 데다 자리 나 같이 제가 제 조합이 세명아지 제 공에 다니는 변남 내 땅이는데 다 지금 소소 불자는 데 소소 미세기 제가 시행도 보내 자기 생각으로 소화만다 쇼지다 대가는 시키지다 말을 차수관은 미세 기주로 이렇게 고문들아 마음과 나족이 제권의 양도 가지지 계속 배워있나 먼저 나중에서 보면 그때 우리 집에서 보는 거 사람마다 이해자는 게다 깔리지도 제시받을 수도 제시라다 마음과 있나be 여기지 제와도 여기지 아 인지도는 제목과제 책 송조대 먼저 야지 담아던 마음과 다지 오늘 저녁에 치수나 빼면서 계시고 통송 다지다 보면 나도 파면 여행에 가서 저 정말기 라마 좀 공부도 시스템 보고 오늘 전에 말했다고 찾아봤는데 이직 민주주의도 대인들 다지다 제 갈라버다 소소 나는데 파만 상마세 오늘 전에 이직 나와는 시기다기 Mama Randu is Tanya de Zubed, Kamba to the bed, Shaman that I am double to the channel and the Kuzuna Egypt in the Tony, that the Jechi is settled on the Bay Missiki, Monetanic Mashu, Mumale, Mountain Maludra, they that's some of young Chi Kalabora, so some time the Monetanic in Jedi, Pakutopia, and the Mama and the Jachi, and the Sopi Missiki, Suzuki, Katsuki, Chawapi Missiki, Sambuchita. 내가 지금지 베미스 야보도 데이 다 사막이 사실 제가 도지치다 거진체 나버도 치기 라왕치 라왕 아니 쇼겐이 감사지 뭐지 제가 되게 같이 쇼이나 라왕치 라왕 쇼라데 엄마 바보 먼저 왕지라기 미티기 도주나 맞대는 진짜인데 공기 소소 게리 라왕치도 아니 베미리다 다소소 게리 라왕 쇼바체 미리다 장갑 라만치도 소소 기계를 라만쇼데라 치다는데 소소 기본의 자식이 미리다 장갑 잡아나마 콩나마 등하가 사망이 치도 지난 기계를 라만쇼하다 소소 기계가 도분야한테서 맞소분의 자식이 칸바기 계좌죠 카포를 주지 말아야죠 맞소기 치기 맞소기 치도 진주돼서 맞소 고수에 도도요 대인들 가정의 고수 꾸리는 돈다고 돈이 인당만의 투지치다 거림치 근데 불이 사망 사회 사담 나버도 사내되기 때문에 미니스터들이 근데 가다가 조금 두시군도 좀 사망의 사실 치다 투지치셔야 그렇지 근데 이런 분들 그런 게 이렇게 가서 되어 저는 제 나라 제 용수에 투지치
저는 굉장히 지향해. 나다 남치로 나다 무슨 그 지치시가 아니라 당연한 소리. 근데 다 티오는 같으게라. 나는 수 교동이 나는 수 무치료. 얘나 나는 나는 수 비호해. 너는 재활로 치료 비호해. 공사축구 비호해. 나서 우즈베크 비호해. 대는 나는 그 다치스나 나는 그 상수이나 나는 소 시도 나 보다 자식까지 나는 나그 숨 나는 치료소는 그 통고요. 시직대가 나는 소리도 저하는 것이 나니만 니데 나는 소 폼을 그렇게 나는 소 제가 이혼하죠. 깔게 나는 소 제가 이혼 나는 소 까이는 나는 제가 저기 이혼한다. 아니 스바 나는 소 복그 다시 좀 드리지. 근데 저 정말다 나는 소 제대로 그 전주도 사치 그 소소가 다 나오는 소소 족보가 나오고 아니 보겠어요. 보이기 전에 더 되지.
어떤